Next up, Karen Underwood. Karen, I'm going to go ahead and stop my share if you'd like to share your screen.
And can I give a quick...
Carol, if you'd like to take a moment and introduce Karen and why she's here this morning.
Yes. I'm really pleased to introduce Karen. I've had the pleasure of working with her on trail-related issues. She is a board member and secretary of the Humboldt Trails Council. And she's a retired middle school teacher from Fortuna. And she's also very active in the equestrian community. She likes to hike and ride, so there couldn't be a better person advocating for trails. And she's going to share a bit about the Humboldt Trails Council and give some updates and answer questions people may have. So I'm going to take it away, Karen.
How's that look? All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good. Thank you, Carol, for the introduction. And thank you for having me here today to share information about the Humboldt Trails Council and what our nonprofit does. It was great hearing all the good works you folks do just now, so that's exciting. Hang on, I got to move Carol out of the way. Our mission for the Humboldt Trail Council, we serve as a unified voice to support development, maintenance, and use of trails for recreation and transportation throughout Humboldt County. We have two arms for the council. One is a work arm and one is a talk arm. We support the volunteer trail stewards throughout the county who do maintenance on our trails. And we also are strong advocates for development of new trails and supporting our old trails. The Humboldt Trail Council envisions a well-maintained network of accessible community pathways traveled by walkers and riders of all abilities, ages, and means in the pursuit of unfettered kinetic joy. We are advocates, educators, and coordinators working to enhance the county's active transportation and recreation options, community well-being, economic vitality, visitor captivation, and appreciation of open spaces. I want to tell you specifically about the VTS program. We're in partnership with the cities of Arcata and Eureka and the County of Humboldt to provide monthly maintenance to many of our most used and loved trails. The work parties extend all the way through, this is meeting monthly through McKinleyville, Arcata, down through Eureka, and ending currently at Herrick Avenue. In McKinleyville, we have 3 trail groups right now. The McKinleyville Land Trust maintains trails out here on the Mad River Bluffs. They also have a site behind Kmart, the Chagacho Trail, which is not used very much. That would be a good one for folks to visit. And of course, you're all familiar with the Hammond Trail, which stretches, I believe, about 5.2 miles through McKinleyville and is really the first trail that was started with our program. They celebrated 10 years a year ago and are finishing up their 11th year now. And again, this is our volunteer trail stewards working there and maintaining that trail. In Arcata, we have the Arcata City Trail, which extends from the skate park to the north end of the Bay Trail North. And the Bay Trail North is traveling right along the bay and is a beautiful section of the Humboldt Bay Trail. Arcata has the community forest trails, which I think most of us enjoy, a really ideal spot to hike. And in the future, Arcata right now is well along in their planning from the skate park to have the Annie and Mary Connectivity Trail, which is going to travel out to pump station number 2. And in the future, right now in Blue Lake, they've put in a mile of their trail and are working on a second mile. And at some point, this will connect across the bridge at Essex in the future, and people will be able to travel by bike, horse, or foot between those two communities. In Eureka, we have the Eureka North Waterfront Trail, the Eureka Wharf Trail, Wiggy Wetland Trail behind the Bayshore Mall, and the Hickshari Trail, which again goes out to Herrick. Each of these 4 sites have a volunteer trail steward group that meets monthly and works on those trails to keep them clean. And a lot of those people also are out on those trails very frequently, and their eyes and ears on those trails too. There's some exciting news in Eureka, a couple of more trails coming online in the near future. And by near future, I probably mean 2 to 5 years. Coming off the Bayfront Trail North under the freeway, and then coming across the marsh there, and that's Ryan Slough. And then using the green belts, the city of Eureka is in the process now of developing the Beta Zoo Trail. And this will be a real asset to the city. People will have a safe way to get from these outer neighborhoods down to join the Bay Trail, and also even down for the shopping. And we get a lot of people asking, from our emails, how can we safely get to downtown Eureka? And currently it's not a very safe option for bicyclists. The other trail that Eureka is working on and is well along in the planning, this is in conjunction with Caltrans, is from Hickshari South to the Humboldt Hill area. They're going to, along the rail bed, put a trail that will connect Humboldt Hills safely to Eureka. So that will be welcome when that comes on board. When they do, we will work on supporting a volunteer trail steward program that will do maintenance on those trails. We have partnerships with other organizations besides the city and county. Freshwater Farms Reserve Nature Trail out in the Three Corners area there, the Humboldt Coastal Nature Center trails at Manila, the Friends of the Dunes, we support their trail maintenance. And then up above Redwood Valley are the Lax Creek trails, and the bicycle community was also very involved in building those trails and are part of our volunteer trail steward program in maintaining them yearly. We've got more trails coming in the county, and I'm sure you've heard of the McKay Community Forest Trail. This one's super exciting. Eventually 31 miles of trails added to Eureka along the backside there. And our first volunteer trail steward group will start in September. And so that everybody has been very anxious to get this started and get these trails. Actually, the CCC has built some of the trails in there. It's technically not open yet, but people have been going back there for years using that, and it will be an exciting addition to Eureka, just like the Arcata Forest is for Arcata. The Humboldt Bay Trail South is one I'd like to highlight right now. And so, when you come out of Arcata on the Bay Trail right now, you stop at Two Rocks and you have to turn around and go back. And even with that, there's 100 bicyclists and 90 to 100 pedestrians using that trail currently on a daily basis. So the Humboldt Bay Trail South connection is going to run from Two Rocks past Bray Cut along the rail line. It's going to go on the outside of Brainerd, and then we'll come back in, cross the Eureka Slough Bridge, and connect with the current Eureka waterfront trails. I've got a lot of information to share with you currently on that one. The Humboldt County Planning Commission met last night to consider approval of a conditional use permit. And the area they were looking at is from Bray Cut to Brainerd. And the county has actually purchased this section, or is in the process of purchasing this and getting permits. And so the Planning Commission did approve that approval, or the approval they needed to move ahead with their special permits. In other news for this trail, it's like an obstacle course to build these trails. This one's particularly difficult, but the lease agreement with the North Coast Rail Authority was recently executed. The water quality certification from the Water Board was issued. Permits from the National Wildlife Refuge, or permit from the National Wildlife Refuge has recently been issued. It's on, this section of trail is on the agenda. And when I say this section, it's the whole section here, is on the agenda for the Coastal Commission in October. And they're working on permits for the Corps of Engineers and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. Those two are imminent in coming. So Hank Seaman from the County Public Works Environmental Division has really taken the lead on this. Oops, sorry. Oops, back. And we really look forward to when this section is usable and connecting our two cities. Probably late summer 2022, with everything going right, this section will begin building. And so community has been waiting a long time for this. So that will be exciting. The Humboldt Trail Council, for our volunteer trail stewards, we provide the insurance that allows these work days to happen. We get vests, hats, gloves, snacks, tools, and training for these folks. We also have a VTS coordinator for each group. And above that person, we have a part-time VTS coordinator for our VTS coordinators. And that has really helped with the work of our coordinators. That person, currently we are in the process of filling that position, and we share that job with the city of Arcata, and that person works out of the Arcata Marsh. So hopefully within a month or so, we'll have that position filled. We're always recruiting for new volunteers for our volunteer trail stewards program. And if you're at all interested, you can let me know, or visit our webpage and go to the volunteer folder. And there you can go sign up directly with the trail coordinator and let them know you're interested, and they will contact you. This is what they do, and you can be a part of it. I'm going to share a little of what they're doing. What is astounding is how much these people have worked during COVID, and many of them went out on their own time. And in the beginning, when the groups suspended the work days and continued to work, and actually our hours for 2020 are up. Here's a little bit of our yearly data, and you can see back in 2017, we had 665 bodies show up for about 2,200 hours. And it continues to grow every year, about 20% a year. And again, in 2020, not quite as many people showed up, but they were working more hours. And we have almost 4,000 hours to show for 2020. So it turns out people like to work on trails as much as they like to hike on trails, thankfully. The other arm of the Humboldt Trail Council is the advocacy group, and this committee is the voice of the Humboldt Trail Council. Members speak on behalf of the council at events and meetings. We speak on the street, on the trail, and in the mail. The committee meets monthly to concentrate on trail issues. Trail success depends not just with the bodies on the trail, but also with the bodies behind the scenes working on the trails. We often visit or examine future trail sites to see how we can assist. This is a portion of the trail south of Hickshari that will join to Humboldt Hill. Developing trails in Humboldt County is very important to our citizens. Trail use across our county is up, or across our country, sorry, is up 165% over these past 2 years. And since the beginning of the pandemic, our county residents have flocked to the outdoors. People are seeking out spaces near their homes to be active at a safe physical distance, and trails have proven to be the draw. We attend and speak at public meetings, write letters of support for funding, grants, projects, and articles for news release. We post call to actions to our e-list, build relationships with local decision makers, follow trail advocacy developments and needs. We try to make ourselves available, and we work at building relationships with local and distant decision makers to further our mutual goals. We like to help folks in the various jurisdictions know what the council can do to help them support their trails and active transportation programs, and work on connecting the regional trail system network. We strive to make it easy for them to connect with us when they need a letter or speaker at a meeting in support of trail development. We also cause a little trouble. We troubleshoot. Currently, we're involved on the Waterfront Trail, the section near Adorney. And if any of you have bicycled or walked through there from C Street back to the Adorney Center, trail users find that a confusing area in the Eureka Waterfront Trail. And so we're currently working with the city of Eureka to improve routing and signage there. And then there's the big one, the Great Redwood Trail. And in 2018, Senator McGuire, or the bill for transitioning the rail line to the trail, the original bill passed in 2018. And currently there's another bill working on funding and creating a successor agency to the North Coast Rail Authority, which would be the Great Redwood Trail Agency. And we've been involved all along in support of this, and doing everything we can to further this transition. It's currently, right now, the North Coast Rail Authority has asked for, excuse me, for the rail line to be the northern 100 miles to be rail banked. And that is a process that goes through the Surface Transportation Board. And what rail banking means is that you're just turning this rail, or this public right of way, into an interim trail. And it could always go back and become a rail line if a rail company came forward and could show that it's feasible to do that. But I know the hiking community is happy to do this. And we have already built a lot of this trail through Eureka and Arcata on or adjacent to a rail line. And the trails can be either directly on the rail line or adjacent to the rail line. And of course, the ones from Eureka to Arcata are rail with trail. So for the possibility of an excursion trail a train to come back. Our board is made of 9 members, and we are currently seeking new board members. Who isn't? And of course, we want people who feel a passion for trails and wish to engage. We are also seeking folks who would like to be an associate with the board and just focus on one issue. For instance, if you were just interested in supporting the volunteer trail stewards, you could be on that committee, not be a board member, but assisting in the support of that work. If you are at all interested in working on our board or with our board, you can send me your phone number at my email, kju1910@gmail.com. We have over 1,000 trail supporters on our e-list and are fairly active on social media. We have a very current web page, which I would encourage you to visit. A Facebook page, which of course has all our most current issues or announcements. And if you like pretty pictures of trails, join our Instagram at Hum Trails. We have a couple of our annual events. The Trail Summit is the first Saturday in June. And if you'd like to see the last one, you can go to our webpage, go to the folder that says 2021 Trail Summit, and that you can watch the video of that. And that's pretty nice to see this year we focused on a lot of new trails coming online in the coming year. We have an annual meeting the third Monday in October, and everybody is invited to that. And this is what we all just like to do. So thank you very much. Appreciate sharing all this information with you and look forward to seeing you on the trail.
Karen, thank you so much. Does anybody, before I start, because I have a lot of questions and things to say
Happy.
out of enthusiasm, anybody have questions for Karen?
I do.
Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, just sort of a personal question, but I've recently discovered the Arcata Ridge Trail, and I'm
Oh,
wondering if you know anything about when the connection between the Arcata Forest and the Sunnybrae Track is going to be made official, and I know it probably involves some kind of signaled crosswalk over Fickle Hill, but I wonder if you know anything about the progress there.
Yes, just a couple of months ago, we had the City of Arcata Planning Commission had a meeting and accepted a mitigated negative declaration on that trail, which was a big step forward on it. But they are moving slow. There were 3 crossing options, and it's not imminent, but it's getting closer that those will be connected. And of course, I think a lot of people are so anxious to have that connected because what's happening up there right now is not safe. As you know, both those trails come together, the community forest one on one side and the Sunnybrae forest on the other, but they're separated by what is it, about a quarter mile, and so people are out on Fickle Hill. So I know it's not going to happen this year, but hopefully next year we'll get that done. Our
Right.
volunteer trail stewards work on both sides of that trail, and they're anxious to just put the trail in.
Yeah,
But
there's a biker connection, but not an official crossing. So thank
nothing
you.
official, and so it's not good right now. But yeah,
Thank you.
yes.
Karen, this is Cam.
Hi, Cam. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Thank you for that presentation. I just wanted to know if you have any information on the ivy situation that we're seeing out in my area. There was never ivy in Fieldbrook that I knew of.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing it all over the place, and up on the Elkhead Trail, it's particularly bad up there.
Ivy is a huge problem. Invasives, and our volunteer trail stewards, some of the groups work harder on trying to restore native plants. I don't have any specific information. I think the best thing you can do for any ivy issue is contact the agency that's in charge of that area and let them know you're concerned. Another thing that has slowed down a lot of the invasive removal work is the CCCs, who we used to be able to get, pretty frequently to work for us, for the different agencies, and nonprofits also, are just so, they're working on fire a lot of the year now, where we used to have months on either side of the fire season where those folks could be out, and they did a lot of invasive removal. But my best advice right now is to just and for Fieldbrook, it's you guys, right? But just keep hacking at it, cutting it at the base. But
Thank you.
yeah, thanks, Cam. Good to see you.
Same here.
Anyone else in the general audience have any questions, comments, great trail delights to share? I'll share a couple things. Karen, it was well before Humboldt Trails Council was formed, but there were a couple of other organizations that were involved in trying to lay some of the groundwork to even get the idea promoted. And I recall a time, maybe could have been 20 years ago, when I was knocking on doors of landowners and meeting with them and talking about the possibility of a trail through Eureka. This was pre-Hickory, pre-Waterfront Trail. And some of those conversations were very, I'll just say interesting as a kind word. And so I wholeheartedly applaud everything that's gone on since then to get us where we are today. I live on Humboldt Hill. I am super excited for that last link to get to the Hikshari start. And, you know, I watch it continually erode out there along the railroad track picture that you posted, but it's totally doable. We all know it is. And, you know, I bike to work a couple times a week from Humboldt Hill to 4th and O Street. And when I used to go pre-trail, I didn't arrive relaxed, and I knew I was never really safe going down either Broadway or riding on the rail itself, which is really difficult because of the ties that are not under gravel, or some of the back routes, you know, through the golf course, which is sketchy at best, and all that. So really appreciate and really enjoy all the work that has gone into this as a community. For everybody. It's by and large, it's a very accessible trail because the grade is flat. You know, people with all sorts of modes of transportation, whether it be on foot, on bike, in wheelchair, have a pretty equal opportunity to enjoy most of it. And that's really an asset to our community. And one thing I'm very curious about is for an organization like ours, you know, Rotary clubs, we currently do the Adopt a Highway program out in the Manila Samoa area. And I'm curious, are there opportunities like that for a club like ours to, you know, adopt a section of a particular trail in our territory?
I think that's something I could talk to you further about. I know our Wiggy Wetlands section of the Eureka Bayfront Trail is sponsored by the Audubon, you know, the Redwood unit of the Audubon. So I think that's totally possible. And truthfully, as more of these trails come online, we do need to form new volunteer trail steward groups. The section you were talking about that you ride on, that 1 mile section south from Hikshari, that will need a new group. Because that section actually was also just recently accepted by Caltrans for planning study to go all the way to CR. So we do need bodies, to work on trails. So I think absolutely that would be wonderful. To have a group adopt a section. And again, most of our volunteer trail stewards work days are 2 hours once a month. And
what's the best way to find out about those work days as a group? Is there
glad you asked. Again, go to our webpage, humtrails.org, and in the folder up top, it says how to volunteer, I believe, or it might say volunteer trail steward. And all of them are listed, and you can email the specific trail coordinator, and then they add you to their list. And well, right now we're not advertising them publicly. Normally we do. And so our recruitment is behind because of COVID-19, but they'll add you to their list, and then you would receive their notification each month about the upcoming workday and where you would meet and stuff. So
hey, Ian, can I just chime in really quick?
Thanks, Carol. Yeah.
First of all, Karen, excellent presentation. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And to Ian, your question about Adopt a Highway, I know I was contracted for a while with the county, and we actually developed Adopt a Highway program that I think once the Bay Trail South section is together, it's to answer questions for businesses, clubs, and all to adopt a stretch. So I look forward to hopefully moving that forward. And I just want to remind the club that I know we have in the past annually donated to the Humboldt Bay Trail Fund. And some of what that trail fund has been able to do is support groups like the Humboldt Trails Council and the volunteer trail stewards and coordinators. So that is money well spent, as you can see from all the things that Karen has outlined. It's really targeted for, you know, supporting community engagement around our trails.
Thank you, Carol. Quick show of hands for the folks on the call here. Who would be interested as a club member in getting involved with a trail workday? Okay, just like that, Karen. We'll get it done.
Excellent. Well,
thank you very much for being here. Karen,
yeah.
we for our presenters, our club makes a donation to the Wheelchair Foundation in the name of the presenter, in this case you today.
Thank you.
And the Wheelchair Foundation provides wheelchairs for people who could not otherwise afford or access them through other means. And you know, that goes hand in hand with trails and accessibility. So thank you again for all the work that you do and your board does, and all the volunteers in our community who get out there and do it so we can all use it.
Thank you.
Thank you.